Welcome to Mr. Giant Reacts and Ting and Ting and Ting. I'm Mr. Giant, and someone suggested that I watch this. It's called The Silence of the Swastika, The Biggest Betrayal. Now, from what I gather, it's something to do with the symbol used by the Nazis, and its similarities to a symbol used by the Indian people. So I don't know what it's about. I'll be honest with you. I've never heard of this before. I think I've heard about it before, but I've never gone into deep research or understanding of what it is. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to learn what the silence of the swastika is all about. Let's YouTube and simmer.
History is evidence of great civilizations turning into dust and their ruins leaving a shocking legacy.
स्वास्तिक पूरी दुनिया में शांति को प्रतीक है।
A symbol of well-being and prosperity was tarnished over the last century. It is time to peel the history and know the truth.
Okay.
July 2020. Simran, the student union head of Brandeis University in the U.S., calls the swastika a symbol of peace and suggests including it in the school curriculum. A huge protest was carried out and Simran had to apologize.
Students were offended by the swastika.
What happened with Simran wasn't the first
Hindu
incident.
groups in Canada say they're being subjected to hate.
In April 2015, the George Washington University in the U.S. mulls banning the swastika,
Bill was introduced in the U.S. state of Maryland seeking a ban on the swastika.
all due to hate for the swastika.
This symbol is a part of daily life for the Hindu community. The idea of ban was not justified.
In April 2021, a campaign was run to implement legislation to ban the swastika in a few states of the U.S. Several Hindu organizations protested.
How could the swastika be banned or considered a symbol of hate for crimes that did not happen underneath it?
Very happy to inform that this bill will no longer be moving forward. So Maryland is also settled.
The entire Western world views the swastika with abomination and as a diabolical symbol.
Media coverage is the biggest reason behind it.
Calling it a symbol of hate.
It's tonight a symbol of hate, one of the most controversial symbols imaginable.
Is the latest example of hate symbols in the Sun City.
The haunting question is, why is the swastika a demonic symbol in the Western media, while it is revered in the East, especially in India? Because Hitler persecuted 6 million Jews and buried them under his sign. But was it the swastika or something else?
Oh boy, this is interesting.
Hitler never used the word swastika in his recorded life.
Did Hitler ever use the swastika? If not, then what is it that engulfs 6 million Jews? Who are those people who changed a symbol of peace to that of evil? The answer is one of the greatest betrayals of the 20th century, with profound implications for billions globally.
This is gonna be interesting. Oh, I feel it rumbling. Wow.
World War II. Never in history has such ruination, physical and moral, been associated with the name of one man, Hitler, who ruled Germany from 1933 until his death, under a symbol that the Western world now calls swastika. Was Hitler so influenced by India and Hindu tradition that he made the swastika a symbol of his entire political life? To know this, let us peep into the speeches and writings of Hitler. Hitler, a chronology of his life and time. This book compiles all the speeches and statements of Hitler. Let's see if his words and beliefs are consistent with the current understanding of swastika in the West.
Okay.
May 21st, 1930. Hitler angrily replies to a German politician, Otto Strasser, that there is one possible kind of revolution. All revolutions, and I have studied them all, have been racial. Hitler said further, "Didn't you declare openly for the Indian independence movement when it was obviously a rebellion of the inferior Hindu race against the superior Anglo-Nordic?" Hitler declared, quote, "The Nordic race has the right to dominate the world, and that right will be the guiding principle of our foreign policy." December 4th, 1931. Hitler advocates friendship with England in a press conference and says that, quote, "The loss of India by the British Empire would be a misfortune for the rest of the world, including Germany."
Wow.
January 26, 1932. Hitler, while addressing an association of Germany's most illustrious industrialists, proclaimed the superiority of the white race and said that the British Raj did not conquer India by means of justice and law, but by the most brutal ruthlessness on the basis of racial superiority over the Indians. On July 27, 1941, Hitler, with an idea of trampling Eastern Europe, said that this region can be controlled with over 250,000 soldiers. "We should learn from the British Raj, which is controlling 400 million Indians with 50,000 soldiers."
Okay, now when she said that Hitler said that the British control the Indians by believing that the Anglo race is superior to the Indians, the question formulates like, is that what they believed? That's why they took over that nation, or was it purely economic? No, I think, no, this is my opinion. The race thing might be a byproduct of economic, how should I put it, economic pillaging. It has to be, from where I'm standing, because if people want, like, all right, I'll just say it up front. If the rich people want the poor people to do their bidding, they have to make the poor people believe that those that they are taking over is inferior. That's number one. Because when you think about it, the people who benefited financially from taking over these countries are the rich, and the poor people are just there sort of following, kind of, but not really knowing that they're not going to benefit from the economic captures of these places, and they generally didn't. So it's easy to tell people that those that are different from them is evil, not worthy, less than, to maintain the oppression of those people, because if they tell them that they're doing it for money, then the poor people is going to expect some kind of material gain from that. So it's quite possible that it started economically, and to find the thing that would make the poor people go along with it was to use the differences, the difference in religion, the difference in color, the difference in culture. You know what I mean? They are uncivilized, you know? And then religion comes into play to a certain degree, because then if they don't believe the same thing that the forces coming to take over the land believe, then it's got to be something devilish. It's got to be something that is contrary to what they believe is pure. So to say it's just the race thing, there's just so much that entail, because if you look at modern times, they're still using the same sort of idea to keep people, okay, here's the thing, to keep people hating. Here's the thing, okay, like for instance, the whole Muslim versus Christian thing. Here, I live in a place where there's Christians. They believe that the Muslims are bad, and the Muslims do this, and the Muslims do that. So it's easier, and the people who I believe in that, isn't really sharing in the wealth that comes from the places after they get into those places. As a matter of fact, they spending money on the oil that the rich people getting from those places. You know what I'm saying? With the business dealings and stuff that's going on. Now it's kind of switched around a little bit because now those countries have gotten the power over their own resources. But to keep it going this long, you have to vilify the other side, and they would use race, and they would use religion and stuff like that to vilify them, because people, when you're poor, you live on faith. You live on faith when you're poor. You have faith that you'll be able to get a job and pay your bills. You have faith to believe that the government have your best interest at heart. You have faith to believe that the rich people have your best interest at heart. Oh man, I'm babbling. But I just thought about that when she said that, and I was like, Hitler probably used race because he could get all of his people to follow him. The other is less than you. You're superior. The Jews are less than you. You're superior. The gays are less than you. You're superior. Let's keep watching this here, see where this is going. This is quite interesting. Watch it with me, y'all.
In a speech on 8 August 1941, Hitler talked about making Russia to Germany as India was to the British Raj. On 17th-18th September, once again in a conversation, Hitler said that if British rule leaves India today, then India will collapse in no time.
2nd August 1942, Hitler said in an evening conversation that he would still like Britain to rule India.
Pretty.
These facts pose a contradiction. Would a man so megalomaniacal, so devilish in his understanding of humanity, with such prejudices against the Hindus, make an ancient Hindu symbol of prosperity, the swastika, represent his entire political career? There is more to this than meets the eye.
Yeah.
The world today knows the swastika to be a symbol of Hitler's crimes. The mere mention and depiction of swastika triggers talks of anti-Semitism and the Holocaust. But how did Hitler arrive at the Nazi symbol, and what did he call it? Hitler explains this in his autobiography, Mein Kampf. Hitler refers to the Nazi symbol as Hakenkreuz. It appears 8 times in his book. But today, Google translates Hakenkreuz to swastika. But strangely, Haken and Kreuz separately translates to hooked cross.
Ooh. Interesting.
Kreuz in Germany means cross, and was even used to name medallions and badges for the German military. For instance, Balkenkreuz means beam cross. Ritterkreuz means knight's cross. How then did the Hakenkreuz become the swastika?
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Ooh, this is...
Cross is a symbol of Christianity. Hakenkreuz means hooked cross. So when did this become swastika? The answer is hidden behind 2,000 years of history, which culminated in the brutal persecution of 6 million Jewish people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Nazi Germany was not the only country using this symbol. The Finnish Air Force used this symbol from 1918 to 2020.
Oh, wow.
They called it Hakeritsi, which Google translates correctly to Hakenkreuz. Similarly, in the County Council headquarters of Britain, built in 1939, on the uniform of the 45th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army, in France, on the airplanes of Air Force Unit N-124, and on the ruble printed after 1917 in Russia, the West was full of symbols that looked like the Hakenkreuz. In the USA, the cover of the 1913 yearbook of Westfield High School shows a swastika-like symbol which they call the Gamidian. The word has hidden roots in the West.
Gamadian, according to the modern English dictionary, is a cross that looks like a swastika. But if we see in the Glossary of Liturgical and Ecclesiastical Terms, published in 1877, there's only a cross found in churches from the very beginning.
Hakenkreuz, or Gamadion, or Hakaristi, all mean a kind of cross. But was the word swastika ever used as a cross? The answer is a yes, due to callous scholarship, which spread in spite of cautions raised by some eminent scholars of the time.
German archaeologist Heinrich Schliemann traveled to Greece in 1868 with the goal of finding the ancient city of Troy. In 1871, Schliemann found the remains of the ancient Troy. The remains had the symbol resembling a swastika. These remains and these symbols immediately became a topic of discussion. In 1885, Heinrich Schliemann's book Ilios was published in French, in which he used the word swastika for the symbol. But what did he mean by the swastika?
All right. It's getting, you know. Wow.
A direct English translation of Ilios strongly suggests that Schliemann looked at the symbol as a kind of cross and used the word swastika for it. This comes out clearly in an 1891 English translation by Eugene Seelys, which says that the symbol found in the excavation is a cross.
The English version of Schliemann's book, published in 1891, uses both words, the swastika and the whole cross, for the symbol at different places.
But the use of the swastika was opposed. Schliemann, in his book Ilios, The City and Country of the Trojan, described how his friend and scholar Max Mueller was angry with the use of the word swastika. In his protest, Max Mueller said, quote, "I do not like the use of the word swastika outside India. It is a word of Indian origin and has its history and definite meaning in India." End
Wow.
quote. Almost prophetically, he warns, quote, "The mischief arising from the promiscuous use of technical terms is very great. The occurrence of such crosses in different parts of the world may or may not point to a common origin, but if they are once called swastika, the vulgus profanum, or common masses, will at once jump to the conclusion that they all come from India, and it will take some time to weed out that prejudice." End quote.
True.
In 1894, a famous book was written, The Migration of Symbols. In Chapter 2, the author writes that Dr. Schliemann has found the Gamadion in the excavations of Troy, and in this book, he explains the meaning of the word Gamadion, a type of Christian cross. The word swastika is not used here.
Used in Christianity, huh? No, I mean, did Hitler use it knowing that whole Christian, how should I put it, that whole Christian similarity or reference? You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, yeah, this has got me thinking so much there about this, you know what I mean? But once again, it goes back to religion. Now, somewhere along the line, because of Hitler, it probably got lost in the whole using the word from a Christian perspective. Because, you know, no religion really wants to be associated with, you know, mass murder or anything like that. They want people to come to them. They don't, you know, they don't want people to think that they're like barbarians that slaughter people. So I've heard before that it was something to do with some kind of Christian something, and by the way this video is going, it seems to be heading in that direction. Wow. Let's keep watching this.
Further, it was written in this book that Hindus make Gamadion, i.e. a kind of cross, on their books on New Year's Day, not the swastika.
Did the West also consider the swastika to be a kind of a cross? Be it some postcards of 1907 or some American stock certificates of 1910, all evidence suggests that the word swastika was also used for a kind of a cross.
Wow.
Did Hitler's Hakenkreuz become the Indian swastika, which has no relation with a cross? The answer would dismay you. And for that, we have to look at Hitler's childhood.
In his book, Mein Kampf, Hitler recounts the joyous religious moments of his childhood in the town of Lambach, how he used to take singing lessons in the church courtyard in his spare time, and how in doing so, he was completely immersed in the festivities of the church. How the head of the monastery was the same to Hitler as the village priest was to Hitler's father, a role model, and how he himself wanted to be the priest of the monastery.
Hitler
Alluding
priest.
to this, an old friend of Hitler also talks about how Hitler wanted to be a priest, and how he used to wear a kitchen apron and preach in the pose of a priest. The place Hitler talks about in his book is the Lambach Abbey Monastery, which has the symbol in 7 different spaces.
According to Robert Paine, who wrote the popular biography of Hitler, Hitler could see this sign in his childhood from the window of his room and on his way to his school. According to Paine, this sign is the inspiration behind Nazi Hakenkreuz.
Wow.
Hitler never clearly mentioned about this inspiration, but the effect of Christianity on Hitler from childhood and his relation to this monastery points in this direction.
What does this symbol mean in a Christian church? And why did Hitler choose it? The answer to these questions will peel another layer of this mystery. History has changed. The game of chess was played with humanity, where the moves were all in one wrong direction. And these moves were going to become a great source of concern in the future for innumerable people of the East, for which we need to look at when the West started using the word swastika.
In 1871, Frederick Schliemann found these signs on the remains of Troy, and the Oxford Dictionary proposes that the modern use of the word swastika entered the English language in 1871. But what was the symbol called before 1871?
In a book called The Pursuant of Arms, published by the British Library in 1851, this symbol is called Philfort, which is called Gamadion in the Greek churches, and the only similar sign is found on old coins of the Crete civilization. No other so popular example is there.
Wow.
Quote, "We are still in want of equally famous clue," unquote. These words from 1851 book suggest that the West did not know of the swastika used in the East. Indeed, the book never refers to the symbol as the swastika.
In another book published in 1870 named Textile Fabrics, on the robes used in the church, the word Gamadion is used 19 times in it, and always to signify some sort of a cross, never as the swastika.
Gamma is a Greek letter. 4 gammas joined together to form a Gamadion. It was occasionally used by early Christian society. But how did this symbol become synonymous with Jesus Christ?
Okay.
A very important part of any building is its cornerstone. If a cornerstone is seen from outside, its shape is like the Greek letter gamma, which are combined to form a Gamadion.
Nelson's Dictionary of Christianity states that the Gamidian has been used as a symbol of Jesus Christ and as a cornerstone. But why is the Gamidian so important as a cornerstone? Because the Bible says that Jesus Christ is the cornerstone of Christianity.
Wow. This is a well thought out
The precious
documentary.
cornerstone in Isaiah 28:16 is a reference to Jesus Christ as the foundation of God's people. Similarly, in the New Testament of the Bible, in Ephesians 2:9-21, Paul mentions, "You are no longer foreigners and strangers, but fellow citizens with God's people and also members of his household, with Jesus Christ himself as the chief cornerstone."
बाइबल में in about 10 places in the Bible, Jesus Christ is called the cornerstone, and the Gamadian has also been called a cornerstone. This is why in Nelson's Dictionary of Christianity, Gamadian is called a sign of Jesus Christ. And for this reason, the importance of Gamadian in Christianity can be understood. This sign is still present in many places of importance to Christianity.
Oh.
On the 8th century Holy Well and the cross slab of St. Brigid in Ireland's Clifany, 6th century Hagia Sophia Church in Istanbul, 10th century Urquhart Psalter's Christian manuscripts cover page, Gothic Cathedral of Notre Dame, or in the medieval church of Lalibela, the cross and the hooked cross can be seen side by side.
Oh.
There were several types of crosses on coins used by the Merovingian dynasty, one of which was the hooked cross. Be it the transenna panels of Christian architecture from the 11th century found in Italy, or the gravestones from the 13th to the 16th centuries found in Bosnia, we can see this sign.
Man, this thing was everywhere,
It is
man.
very common for this sign to be found in ancient churches or other places associated with Christianity. Not surprisingly, this sign can also be seen on the floor of the Pope's official residence in Vatican City.
What? I didn't know that. Okay, I wonder if they tore it down or redid it.
It was necessary to peek into the history of the symbol to understand its relationship with Christianity. But it begs the question, was Hitler so influenced by Christianity that he chose a symbol which metaphorically represented Jesus Christ to drive his politics and ideologies? It is not as difficult as understanding Einstein's theory of relativity, once the Pandora's box of Hitler's speeches is opened and dismantled.
Oh, wow, no. Wow.
On April 12, 1922, in the Nazi Party newspaper, Hitler said that he is following the example of Jesus Christ in the struggle against the Jewish people, and it is inappropriate to say that speaking against the Jews is same as speaking against Christianity. On November 11, a newspaper in Munich published an interview with Hitler describing how he was fighting Marxism, which was influenced by Jews, and how Jesus Christ was a German. May 1923. Hitler in a social gathering said he would enter Berlin the same way Jesus Christ entered the Temple of Jerusalem and drag the moneylenders out using a whip.
Wow. Wow.
In 1926, during a Christmas speech, Hitler said that his struggle against Jews is to carry out the work of Christ, which he could not accomplish in his lifetime.
He's twisting everything, man. That's not craziness, though.
In a speech in Munich on 25th October 1930, Hitler called Hackenpreis a part of the Christian tradition and said, "We should have no doubt that this Christian cross is a symbol of the struggle against the Jews, Marxists, and the Bolsheviks." Further, he hinted, if the Lord Jesus Christ suddenly appears in front of the people of Germany today, then he may join the Nazi party too.
Hitler, in his speech, Hitler used to describe the work of his party as God's work.
Stuff sound familiar of things I'm hearing today in today's politics.
Hitler, on the other hand, wanted to run his own party as a religious order.
On November 30th, 1944, in a long speech on Judaism versus Christianity, Hitler tramples on the notion that Jesus Christ was a Jew, because according to him, Judaism is a symbol of capitalism, and whoever follows it is corrupt. These sentiments didn't resonate only in Hitler's speeches. In fact, his entire political career was permeated with vitriolic, lava-like racial segregation.
Jesus Christ.
In one of the most popular posters on the life of Jesus Christ, John the Baptist is seen baptizing him, while a white dove is hovering around him in a clear sky with a shining sun.
In 1935, the Nazi Party publishes a similar poster of Hitler, the only difference being Christ is replaced by Hitler.
Wow, I did not know that.
Eagle.
I did not know that. That is crazy. My man is likening himself to Jesus.
Some argue that Hitler was against Christianity. Some examples of this are also given. But this is cherry-picking a few facts from Hitler's political portfolio, or cursorily comparing the nuances in Protestantism with Catholicism. According to the 1933 census, about 67% of Germany's Christians were Protestants and 33% Roman Catholic. Indubitably, these statistics are significant for a politician.
In his book, Mein Kampf, Hitler states that the Catholic Church cannot comprehend the problems and issues of German people because the prime body which governs the Catholic Church is not located in Germany. Subtly, he meant, since the central body of Catholic Christianity is in Rome, while the seeds of Protestantism were planted in Germany, the Catholic Church will not be able to empathize with Germany's problems.
People often cite such examples to show Hitler was against Christianity, but it is nowhere close to the truth, which essentially was that Hitler's beliefs on Jesus Christ and Christianity were often in conflict with the ideologies of Catholic Christianity. For example, rejecting the Old Testament of the Bible, because it is also accepted by the Jews, and calling Jesus Christ a German or the first Nazi. These actions were radically out of sync with the ideology of the Catholic Church. But are these conclusive to say Hitler was against Christianity holistically?
In 1920, Hitler's Nazi Party officially published 25 points of German religion. It is clearly written on the 24th point of this publication that the Nazi Party advocates the tenets of Christianity.
The struggle we are fighting today, which will either finish with our end or by victory, in the real sense, this struggle is between Jesus Christ and Marxism. These were the powerful words of one of Hitler's closest aides, Joseph Goebbels. April 1922, in a speech in Munich, Hitler said, "My feeling as a Christian points me to my Lord and Savior. As a fighter, it points me to the man who single-handedly recognized these Jews for what they were and summoned men to fight against them. He is the greatest warrior."
Several testimonials over the course of time vouch for Hitler and his party's adherence to Christianity. On the contrary, it is also claimed that one of the reasons for choosing this symbol was the S in Hitler's party's name, the National Socialist German Workers' Party, which is not entirely unreasonable, as referenced in Hitler's autobiography. But this symbol's association with Christianity and Hitler's radical viewpoints on Christianity could be a major reason for his selection as a Nazi party symbol. At least that's what is evident in Hitler's regime.
Okay, since this one is so long, we're going to do it in 2 parts. So far, it's been really interesting. You know what I mean? It's kind of sad that they relate the swastika to the Indian symbolism that they use for their religion. That's kind of sad. Now, it's starting to show, okay, I hear about Hitler all the time, but this is starting to show the mindset to how he planned this. Now, what was this, a cult that he was developing, you know what I mean, around, you know, wow, around Christianity? Because, you know, there is some cultish behavior in his whole, the whole ordeal of Hitler himself, you know, and his people. And sad to say, we've seen that being used today. It's really strange. So, you know, history keeps repeating itself. So we're going to come back to the second part of it here, and we're going to get to the bottom of this and figure out whether their points are valid in saying that it's not a Hindu symbol that's being used by Hitler because he's against Christianity, but it was actually a symbol of Christianity, a cross in essence, that he had seen as a child. And according to the documentary so far, it's been used countless times on Christian buildings and stuff like that, even the Vatican. So I'm quite interested to see what the next thing is going to bring. All right, thank you for watching this with me so far. Come on back for number 2, for the second part of this video. And in the meantime, you all take care of each other. Cool runnings.